fact that they've banned out the Zeri counter in Draven is saying, dude, pick Zeri. They refuse, and they're going with the Seraphine comp again.
And Yuumi is up as well. They could easily get the Zeri with the Yuumi, just one of the dream scaling bottom lanes. Seraphine has been the queen of the LCS playoffs, though, has dominated regardless of who has picked up the champion, and especially with Team Liquid, already showing their preference for these big healing and shielding comps that have big balls of power to just roll right at you.
And I will say, I can maybe even make a stab making call that what if Seraphine is actually the new queen of the bot lane? Like, I know we're focusing on Zeri, and around the world, Zeri's been a really big deal, but I mean, CLG have already played a couple of Seraphine games down there. Poome has played it alongside Senna, for example. We know Luger's played it herself as well. So they have 3 farm Senna games, or 3 farm Seraphine games already on CLG, and she is very good. If you figure out in the previous week, oh, Seraphine's the top pick, now she's first pick.
I would say you're just jumping one patch a little bit too early.
Yeah.
Zeri will get put in the dirt next patch.
Okay.
Zeri nerfs are over 4% nerfs on the next patch. 4% win rate, that is.
Yeah.
Because currently, though, still Zeri, pentakill machine.
Sure.
So I do think the priority there is quite strong. But getting into the rest of it here, Sylas early picked, even with the Azir up for Palafox, for the blind to pick.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these Seraphine compositions that we've seen 100 Thieves or Team Liquid or even CLG run, I think rely less on lane counter picks and more about just creating a very strong death ball. It's generally Seraphine, and then Swain is super good, Sylas is very good, Aatrox works very well. It's those brawly self-healers that Seraphine can put over the top.
The best use of this style of comp, though, that Team Liquid have already drafted here has been when the opponents already show that they are going dive, you know, like Vi or something, early pick like that, and then you can counter it. This one, though, for Team Liquid, they're just throwing it down right into the Zeri. Nautilus is always a very strong pick into Zeri. For the ultimate, you can point and click on her, and CLG ended up picking up exactly what we thought. The Zeri Yuumi, the most preferred scaling bottom lane here for them. So we shall see who comes out ahead, and put your theory to the test, Phreak.
Yeah.
How strong truly is the queen?
I want to see the rest of the comp. I am personally a huge Seraphine fan. If I can pick her, that's win rate. Like, I'm gonna crush some games in that one. Personally prefer the Senna alongside because my primary support player is a really good Senna player, but regardless, still a good lane. Fiora off the table. Of course, CLG get counter pick for last pick. Mid laner, of course, they can get whatever they want right now. TL not betting anything else against Sylas. He is a pretty safe pick overall, but you can see they are going after Dhokla here as well. Yone was already the first one off the docket. CLG, they have a jungler answer as well. Olaf, you mentioned self-healing Deathball champions. And there's Xin Zhao going to do something pretty similar.
Yeah, I think just trying to get rid of the good brawler junglers that Santorin would be able to play. I expect the Yone and the Trundle, those 2 bans we saw in the first 3, to likely remain permabanned throughout the whole series. 100 Thieves had a permaban against Team Liquid in their series, and also CLG had Yone permabanned against them in Golden Guardians. Those things I don't think will change this entire time.
Team Liquid clearly here trying to ban out some carry top laners from Dhokla. The difference in the top laners up there, Bwipo much more well-rounded, willing to go for more frontline tankiest champions here to build in with this Seraphine Nautilus composition. Dhokla has had so much more success on carry top lane champions here. And so banning out both Fiora and Renekton, those aggressive looks.
And I believe those were both considered Aatrox counters as well. I'm thinking of the Deathball picks that you guys talked about. And again, Aatrox was mentioned by name as well as one of those options there. CLG, take the Aatrox away. They said, this is what you're probably trying to set up here for Bwipo. But Bwipo, I mean, he's got answers usually.
And when we had revenge on the entire day for the previous Team Liquid series, he just kept repeating, Bwipo has nothing to deal with this Aatrox. It's a huge problem. Someday smashed Team Liquid with the Aatrox game after game after game, and CLG are trying to repeat that strategy.
He keeps trying, though. He's got a number of picks that could go into it, but that's what looked to be a lot of indecision, cycling between a lot of picks that could have worked. Jax is not a matchup we see often in Aatrox.
And he had to dig deep, and nothing worked against 100 Thieves against Someday in the previous one, but Jax over here is a scaling split push threat here for Team Liquid. Another melee champ to get in there. Big melee ball with Seraphine.
Statistically from solo queue, a relatively flat matchup, though as you mentioned, Jax outscales, because in every matchup, Jax outscales, I'm pretty sure. But relatively flat. In other ones, we'd seen solo queue data indicating it was a self-counter pick. This one, again, relatively flat. Vi comes through as more aggressive answers. Again,
Full
another
dive,
fighter.
baby!
Yeah.
Team Liquid train is going straight to the back line.
Galio getting picked at the end, though, is super interesting. So Team Liquid is a death ball with 4 melees. And what CLG has actually done is they picked a bunch of champions that are very good against melees. Zeri, Yuumi can kite almost infinitely. And then Galio, Aatrox, and Wukong all work very well in small spaces. So I think CLG has done their best to try and counter what TL wants to do.
Yeah, it's very difficult to kite a Vi ultimate on you and a Nautilus ultimate on you.
So just Galio ult and send everybody else in.
Exactly.
Now that we're into game, I want to point out how I think CLG is going back to their roots a little bit in terms of heavily counter-picking draft. When they played that series against Golden Guardians, I thought they played a little too conservatively, picking late-game team fighting, scaling stuff. This is a much different look by CLG, and I like it.
And if you're talking about the roots of where they first started to find success with this roster, it was with Palafox roaming mid lane champions and going to camp for bottom lane. You know, Luger, this big carry they could rely on at the very beginning, and Palafox was always just spamming Talia, Twisted Fate, Galio, these roaming mid lane champions. So it truly is back to those roots of success.
And as well, a lot of eyes on Contractz in the jungle, who has stepped up a ton. And Santorin is going to share some thoughts on FTX most improved player and opponent, Contractz.
Well, I think everyone knows that Contractz, he does flip games a lot, and he does go for like very cheesy stuff and things that, you know, sometimes shouldn't work, but it works. I think he's always been that kind of player that does go for the risky things, and that also makes him more unpredictable, and that's also something that you have to watch out for. I remember one game we played against him this season, actually, where he, took my blue and went straight to wolves and started doing my wolves. And, in my head, it's very, very risky doing that, so I was, checking my gromp first, but he actually did the wolves, which most people I don't think would do it, but he did it, and it paid off heavily because it's just kind of unexpected for him to go the extra mile, I guess. So it's something to be aware of.
And you can see Team Liquid really trying to prepare for any Contractz cheese. 3 early wards already on this part of the map, so definitely wanting to track Contractz early on.
What's funny is there is a route still where he could jump over the back of the Baron pit and get in.
And they also haven't even seen him yet with all those wards.
So try as you might. Bottom lane though, flash level 2.
Ain't gonna land. Level 2, level 1 is a lot of damage to it in place. The cleanse was hella late from Luger. 200 HP left. He'll be okay, but that is summoner down.
Your Northern California is showing through, baby. I love it. CoreJJ going and forcing the summoner spell trade though. Cleanse and exhaust from CLG. A little bit of the defenses there.
Yeah, 2 for 2 is not a terrible thing, especially when you're able to lifesteal back a little bit and have the sustain of Yuumi. Going back to the jungle a little bit, just stylistically, I do feel like Santorin should be pretty good against Contractz because he thinks so much about what could go wrong. So Contractz almost has to be extra random in order to get those advantages, which would hurt his efficiency. And what's actually really interesting about this start by Contractz is he's just doing a full clear. It doesn't seem like crazy tech, but for Contractz it kind of is. They've had their first blood basically at 3 minutes in every game of playoffs so far. It's impossible for that to happen with Contractz doing this clear.
Yeah, and number one thing as a jungler, is to not be predictable. So do not follow your own trends.
Yeah,
is the name of the game. Wukong also is one of the jungle champions with some of the greatest rewards for getting to your level 6. Huge kill pressure once you get to your level 6. Wukong always, trying to focus a bit on experience. As well, I kind of want to move the spotlight towards the mid lane since there was so much setting up between Palafox and Bjergsen. And the mid lane difference was the difference in the last matchup these two teams had in the regular season. Palafox had the Azir. He had huge Azir sweeps. Never mind, we're going to get gank on top, though.
Looking for it right now. Pull-up will not land on a Jack. Sun's going to land Q easily as well. Ignite is already there. Flash follow. Need one more hit, though. He's going to hold aggro. Bwipo goes in. He needs another hit, though. You gotta be kidding me! Grabs first blood, and he wants another, but can Soren get away? Next Q is up relatively soon. Freaking shot! Double kill!
Oh my God! Team Liquid want that one back immediately. They want that one back right now. They wish they could rewind the clock on that one. Oh my God! Big Dunks with the well.
Scheduled tweet, by the way.
Scheduled.
He's in a matchup against an Ignite Jax in order to get late game split push pressure Dhokla just walks it out on that gank, able to run Santorin down on the back end. This is the dream start for CLG.
Yeah, to have a 2v1, you're talking about jungle perspective. You're like, oh, I see my top laner get 2 kills when he's getting dove. Bwipo jumps in, Qs,
It's just
one
not enough
auto.
damage. He gets all the autos.
He right-clicked to get back into range, but because Dhokla's path blocking, his champion walks downward,
Yeah.
which I understand.
Oh
That's
my
how the
God.
game's coded. But it means he doesn't stay in auto attack range.
And what it means for the game is now you have a massive pressure point on top lane. Aatrox with accelerated level 6. You have so much pressure here. He can constantly push in for CLG. And what this does for the comp overall is allow Palafox on this Galio the freedom to go for aggressive Galio ults on Contractz. You see Contractz already invading the Vi.
Galio's 6, Aatrox is 6. Santorin can't take his own grump. He's pushed completely out of his jungle, and now just has to sit in this bush to defend against a dive.
Huge ramifications all off of a top dive, 2 for 1. CLG here taking away pretty much all of the jungle as CoreJJ on the support roam timer is found out.
And good restraint there by CLG. I definitely see a CLG from even a month ago tries to set up that 3-person dive right away. CoreJJ made that read, but they've seen CoreJJ on that control ward.
They're about to get caught though.
Yeah. Oh, he grabbed it, pulls him out of the E as well, so the taunt's gonna buy some time. A flash forced out, but Bjergsen has second Wukong ulti. Anchor's still down for a while, but it doesn't matter. The rest of the squad is here. Good to kill back in the board.
Good pick there. CoreJJ lands the hook. The support roam timer, even though they found him, they saw him on the Spire's Bloom. They knew CoreJJ was on a timer on top lane, and CLG get lazy. They go for the ward kill, even with a support deficit there.
I think just thinking they had the ways of getting out no matter what. I mean, Wukong can clone to get rid of an anchor. Yeah, good damage here. Luger, though, is by the wall. Yeah, I assume it's CLG thought they were safe, right? They both have dash to safety,
Bjergsen
but
roam.
it was a good interaction with the hook now, so now...
No flash on Dhokla, but he should be fine.
Yeah.
Bjergsen knows, too, that there is still a Galio ultimate to be used. And I want to bring it back again, because Galio ultimate right now, this is the big point for CLG, trying to play off of these mid roams that he can try and get. Bjergsen, picking on the blind pick Sylas here, really left it open for Palafox, for CLG, to have this turning point. And the other thing I wanted to hit on when Revenge was on the desk with us during that series with Team Liquid, and Bjergsen picking the Sylas in the 100 Thieves series as well, he specifically called out Palafox as being a much better melee mid-champion player, Sylas player, than Bjergsen, and thought Bjergsen did not look comfortable on that Sylas. See if he can actually make some changes here in this series, though. Farming just fine for himself.
Yeah, doing okay. I actually kind of like this lane assignment as well. We already see steel caps through on the Aatrox. You're assuming both Galio and Aatrox are running their respective stat shards as well for the opponent lanes. It's like, well, we're going to put physical damage up against Galio and magic damage against Aatrox. I've owned that one. I actually like this quite a lot. You see this a lot more maybe 5 years ago where you'd like repeatedly lane swap around to kind of dodge defensive buys. But right now, seeing Herald being started.
TL must feel very strong. They've gotten a lot of damage on that Herald already, but Contractz is over the wall with ultimate. Palafox
they're
can jump in.
going.
This is a fight.
Ulti is in already. Ethan get nothing out of the Galio. Needs some help though. Gets a taunt maybe. Gonna find the reinforcements, and there's the combo. CC coming over CC. Trying to kill off Bjergsen. It's gonna be enough. Just too tanky here. And now Bwipo forced to run away.
Team Liquid roam their bottom lane too. Look at the bottom lane now. Zeri can free push into this tower, and CLG won the fight around Herald. This is really bad for Team Liquid. They're going to lose the kills. They're going to lose the minion waves. They're losing control of the map.
Galio's just too tanky. I mean, I understand what Team Liquid thought. As soon as Wukong comes in over the pit, just go strong on one side. They dump everything on him, and he still has 50% of his health.
And they're still looking for him, waiting in this brush.
Yeah, flash to get the anchor. Oh, he sidestepped. He can rip it. That's going to be enough, though. That's going to be so much damage. Core will stay alive. The charm won't matter at all. Hansama has to know that fight was already over.
Yeah, Contract's still around, so Team Liquid going to have to give respect there. Big Dokes on the top side after the 2 kills here, working out
level advantage.
basically a turret plate as well. Contractz after that Scuttle Crab though. CLG now, look at the swaps here. Jack's on bottom side. It is still pre-unleashed teleport. So they're assuming Bwipo not going to come to this one. He could teleport to a tower, but would have to walk himself out. There's no Galio ultimate for CLG, but They get the Rift Herald regardless.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge test going back to Draft Phreak of how powerful are these Seraphine comps.
Sure.
Because Team Liquid is rapidly falling further behind.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the opening here is for sure coming down to so much execution in these plays. And CLG executing on so many of these skirmishes. Team Liquid, they're going to have to find something to bail them out. That ball comp.
Yep.
They can group up later. That is going to be on at least one item for Seraphine first before they can try and pull this together. Palafox waiting on his next Galio ultimate. And the kills, more kills going into Dhokla. Getting the third one there onto Bjergsen off of the little skirmish too. Just, again, really sets up a big power point for CLG to constantly have a pushing side lane and causing Team Liquid to make some interesting lane assignment swaps.
Yeah, and it feels like Team Liquid actually has a lot of tempo in this game to move around. It feels like CoreJJ has spent most of the game like roaming or waiting in a bush, but Seraphine isn't necessarily behind Luger, so it's more of a testament to how important those kills by Dhokla were, because now CLG is starting to hit some, will be soon hitting some item breakpoints, and they can start making plays of their own.
First rake still available right now. CLG with their dual lane back down there, safe in a similar spot. Not, of course, their strong point, right? The Aatrox is pretty much the gold lead right now, but on someone pushing to the tower means they do have bot lane control for a moment. Wukong starts up the Drake. CoreJJ is around. Will it matter? Vi still finishing up Krugs. Bjergsen, maybe first move down. We got pings going, who looks like TL, where this could be a play.
Yeah, first move doesn't really matter against Galio ultimate, though. He could just pop it.
Aatrox has moved as well, so they're going for a steal. If anything, they'd lose the fight, I think.
And now it's going to be grabbed. Make sure the Q lands first. Seraphine damage was coming through.
Yeah, critically, Dhokla showed mid lane, and that meant TL definitely didn't want to go for that play.
And Dhokla does have teleport, too. He could teleport to the tower, but he's walking back up.
This feels pretty playable as long as they're ready for it. Charge gonna land on everybody, but it gets cleansed. Can they keep alive for now? No, Contractz goes down. Will they get another one back, though, is the question, because Galio's on the play. Santorin getting chased, gets the heal. Can he get out in time? He cannot. Luger able to chase him down 1-for-1. Slow won't matter, but Bjergsen's around. Zeri ulti, not the most useful, I feel like. No. It's fine. Whatever. They'll run around real quick.
Yeah, run right back to lane and farm that sucker up. Top laner stayed up there, by the way, evening up a little bit of the minion wave there. So Dhokla got back in time, just walked his way up, keeps his teleport cooldown for the next play. Here's another look at it. You put together the hard dive with the counter dive, and the hard dive barely ekes out the kill in time here, and it just traded back 1-for-1 on junglers. So not a really big change in game state.
Yeah, definitely not. And it's going to be a bit of a struggle here for Team Liquid. They perfectly chained that CC on Contractz so he could only have about a split second to press his W at the end. Doesn't even get his ultimate off, and still trading the 1-for-1 when it definitely felt like they were the ones that were setting that trap. So CLG able to fight back a lot, and we'll get the majority of this turret. If not, okay, just the majority of the turret with this Herald.
Yep, turret plates acquired.
Love to find pressure on the fourth one, but it goes down pretty quickly, and Dhokla does not feel like he can keep taking those hits, and not sure if he actually got the any semblance of that fourth plate himself, but ooh, an over-the-wall play? Maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure CLG saw them on the ward that is towards mid right now, so we got blue pings coming out.
And will it happen? Vi ulti, though, is up. Looks for the Q. Dhokla going to be hit. Blue flying for a bit more as well. Will he ult for anything more? Does not feel like he has the damage. Dhokla tanking up.
Oh
the ult
my
he gets the
God.
fallback. Q3. Force the flash away, and Jax just has nothing to him, honestly. Maybe again, though, Vi goes back in for the ult. The 2v1 is enough as Santorin claims a 600 gold shutdown.
Team Liquid, they actually get revenge. They're like, not this time. You're not 2v1ing us. Santorin flashes away and gives them the opening to go back under tower. So they finally do take down Big Dokes. They get that gold bounty. That is something Team Liquid needed to start chipping away at this lead and getting back in the game.
Pretty crucial mistake there by Dhokla. That bounty is very important, and he'd already bought them so much time just by getting that initial chunk on Santorin, but I can't necessarily fault him for that because he's trying to make those big plays. Hans Sama has to burn flash.
He gets away with it. It's going to be a 5-minute-long cooldown for him. You can see Kempa Chainsword right away for Santorin. He's against 4 healers in the team. Zeri shield, though. Mythics for the top lane 2-0.
Yeah.
And, of course, yuumi there as well. So pretty valuable there. I think it's good to identify someone against a comp like this. Like, someone's got to go hard for it early on. I think Hansama wants better power spikes than an Oblivion Orb.
So who's going to do it for CLG? Because this was a big deal against the Seraphine comps we saw last weekend. Sometimes you just don't have the player who can do it. Yuumi has a great anti-heal item, but it's going to come in fairly late. So I wonder if they'll go with something earlier, and if Contractz will also go for the Chain Sword as a second item.
Yeah, I like Putrefier. I think it's just like the play you go for.
It's
You
the
just
best
call it
healing
out.
reduction item.
Yep, like you heal someone, their damage will apply massive grievous wounds, and honestly, it's not that hard for you to put a heal onto someone relevant and go on from there. So, top lane turret though gonna fall. CLG will finally get the first turret kill of the game. Several are very low, I want to point out, across the map. But first one to fall, gold will go back up to 1,000. So still a pretty close game. 70 seconds until the second Drake of the game spawns. Decent pace towards a soul if CLG wants to play for it. And now that Aatrox gets another surge of money, might see him recall and play for it.
The other benefit here for Team Liquid with drafting such a hard dive comp is that with the towers going down on outside, you can see Bwipo there, Jax, just farming the side lane with his down tower deep in Team Liquid territory while they've got the 1-3-1 going, because you've got the threat of a Vi always, coming over. If anyone overextends other half of the map, you have that instant lockdown. And Galio shows bottom here for Palafox to clean up the minions here in front of Bjergsen.
Yeah, want to see if CLG keep playing aggressively. You mentioned it earlier on when it was the first level 6 Contractz aggressively counter jungling caught by the Galio. Now a play to the top side. Galio coming in right away, jumping to safety. No Seraphine ulti for now. Zeri hitting on the sides. Will it be enough? They can just kill Santorin. The man's just too quick. It's the entire squad. And it's now Bwipo forced to run away. CoreJJ the same. Jumping over the wall is Luger. Has his own Galio. He's going to be fine for now. Hansama will drop. The chase still in toward Core. The flash taunt catches one. And it's a flash forced out of Bjergsen. 5 seconds on the Drake, and they're still chasing for more. He's fast. He's got a yuumi, and he's got a kill onto Bjergsen. CLG are 8-3,
and they're gonna get their dragon. They're gonna get the mid lane tower. CLG are taking it to Team Liquid so hard in game number 1. That was a straight up 4 versus 5 fight, and CLG bursted down Santorin. It was a stolen Galio ultimate coming in.
I think we're seeing a little bit of the team comp design from CLG though. Just like Vi jumps in, and how do they follow through the Yuumi successfully as 4 melee champions? Galio's not even there. Luger doesn't even have more than a shield bow at this point, and he's already shredding Team Liquid. This team composition and game 1 play by CLG is very strong.
Exactly. That's why we talk about from Champions Select, the power of that counter dive. Palafox, once he does get into range 2, they can chase down the rest of the Team Liquid members. Bjergsen not safe either. Everyone knows the pain of trying to run away from a Zeri Yuumi late game. It is basically impossible. Woo! Jumping over the walls.
Zeri damage.
Team Liquid do
watch out.
Get Riptail number 2. Dhokla 2 gets away from every chain there. As you tried, but no, I walked in a straight direction.
And we've got an invading Yuumi. Poome. The Yuumi invade.
Who wins?
On red buff.
I think Poome got this.
He's got teammates. It's a team game. Poome versus Brambleback.
Kind of close. All right, puts the heal back up. Luger bails him out. Saves his lane mate from the evil red buff.
I mean, they could get a lot of damage down onto Bwipo here. Remember, he's a flashless Jax.
Over the wall they go. They're going to get through it at the end of it, so the Q's going to keep landing. The autos, Turk could get in the way, but the Wukong there for the knockup, and the kill comes through in the end. Another one on the board, 9-3.
Okay, there is going to be a counterplay for an objective bounty on top side. They're going to use the Rift Herald up there by Bjergsen to try and get objective bounty shut down for Team Liquid. Should be able to get it, but the payment still losing out on the bottom side, losing out on the extra kill here. CLG pushing this game forward, and you can see it in their vision line too. All of this, the invade from Poome, comical but successful. Look at all the wards moving up. They get the red buff, they get the jump onto Bwipo.
And Team Liquid is definitely just trying to make something happen because they're not in the good position in this game. So lots of just waiting in a bush and hoping to pick Dhokla.
I like this.
That's kind of been the strategy of the whole game.
What did Dhokla do to Team Liquid?
2v1 to their top side. Exactly, thank you. The crowd understands. Anchored? You gotta be kidding me! CoreJJ just whiffs an easy skill shot.
I mean, they might turn this.
By the way, Galio is here! They did it, buddy! A 3-0, and CLG will not be stopped!
Team Liquid they're too transparent. They open up first 3 picks of draft. Heavy dive. Contractz. Whoa! It's not done.
1v2. He's like, don't do it. Let me try as well. Bwipo again in the losing end of a fight. 13-3. Baron spawns now.
CLG is just too damn strong. Team Liquid is waiting in the bush for what? Their own demise? It seems like they cannot win any fight.
Palafox said the big names of the LCS are overrated. It's time for the new generation to rise up, and CLG are making it happen here in the lower bracket. This is an elimination series of playoffs. Team Liquid gonna have to turn it around because you already got to start looking at the next game. This is an engage, like you said, it's getting desperate trying to pick off Dhokla here, but with Galio, it's such a super strong counter pick here and for the counter engage.
They did not get Aatrox's health below 2,000. Like, they maybe did 200 damage to him in the entirety of that fight.
I mean, every CC was overlapped. Like, Anchor misses, okay, sure, but the Vi ult is overlapped with Nautilus ult. Like, they just both press R. It's like, even the coordination was bad there. Like, okay, Core misses skill shot. It happens, he's human, whatever. But like, someone just call I'm pressing R first and wait. But he's just like, okay, I got stunned for exactly 1.2 seconds. Cool. My cooldowns are up. And just nothing happens.
I really like how this game is a combination of CLG's roots of success and the way that they've grown in the LCS.
Yeah.
We talked about the roots at the beginning of the game. You know, Luger, bottom lane carry, Palafox constantly roving. But this is that combined with Big Dokes. Difference on top side, and Bjergsen is far from home. The middle of nowhere.
Quick slow onto him, and they're not going to get slow to Luger, but they might get the rest of it now. Goes to the chain, goes for a whole bunch of damage, but it's not going to be enough. Get a couple hundred health down, but he had the shield bow still. Wasn't in danger. And now they're on to the Baron here without a mid laner from TL.
Bjergsen just trying to make something happen, but it looks like CLG should be able to take this Baron.
Santorin's got a dream. Santorin's got a dream for his steal. He's sneaking around here. Vi's looking for it. He's unseen.
Dokla's looking. They find him fine with the blue trinket. Where else could he be? Top try. They spotted the notes going on. Dokla knows what wall he has to go over. Sees him yet again, and it's not going to be likely. Blocks the Q. No other way over the wall, so it's going to be a smite. That should be contestable.
Careful, though.
Just over for one.
That's fine. It's fine.
Everyone's out of range.
I don't think you need to be careful anymore. That's not in the CLG handbook either.
No. And Kobe, to go back to your point earlier, as Bwipo will pick up an objective bounty, when the split started, CLG was the one drafting Seraphine, and a lot of us were questioning whether or not that CLG had improved or if they're just exploiting an overpowered champion. Oh, it's just a Seraphine comp. But this game especially, with how Seraphine has shown to still do well in playoffs, they are absolutely destroying TL Seraphine comp.
Yeah, I think it's the difference between Team Liquid had success when they picked this basically exact type of composition versus a first pick vibe, because then you know your opponents are kind of locked into this all dive. But CLG, they save their picks. They have counter with the Galio. Great last pick there. Smart draft here from CLG. To get that counter initiation and has really just thrown Team Liquid through a loop. It's kind of the same thread because you mentioned CLG being early to jump on the Seraphine. Yet again, they're early and proactive with some of these champion picks and getting more and more diverse and coming up with different looks.
And on the other side of it, when you're the first to play Seraphine, you're also going to be more experienced with what it doesn't work against and what you're going to be able to struggle with. So really like what they've done here in game 1 to likely take the series lead.
Pretty good here. 9,000 gold up for the bounty claimed. Good by TL to constantly cross-map and get some bit of gold back in. It'd be a far worse game without that. So at least still trying for the plays. They just cannot kill the tanky members of CLG. Every single one has a defensive item on their inventory or a yuumi over the top to make sure it doesn't happen. Only 3 kills on. 40 bottom inhibitor is down, 4 minutes and 20 away from the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, this is a blazing pace that CLG are setting in game number 1. It's 24 minutes. They're already knocking at the Nexus turret doors here, demolishing the base of Team Liquid. They're wasting no time. Completely outplayed this game.
There should be a bit of a sense of urgency for CLG. You never know how strong a Seraphine comp can get, specifically the Seraphine Senna comps. When you look at the gold graphs for those games, about 25 minutes is when they just started to take over. That's when the gold graph would hit a cliff. This seems a little bit more than that, but it should be in the back of your head.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it way far at the back of the head right now.
So you want to just go to the next game, Kobe?
No,
Just over?
No, that's ridiculous. We've still got Dragon Soul to play for, but this is such a commanding position, and because you have the tools to push it forward. You're the ones, as CLG, with the Zeri Yuumi on your team. So, also in the back of your head, you have supreme security.
You feel it. Right now, Palafox happy to the side lane. Got a Banshee, he's got a 10-stack Magi, is on the way towards the zone. He is now in a 1 versus 3 going for the big play. This time, he doesn't have a global. Nice timing on the stopwatch to get rid of the ulti.
Whoa.
And the Q happens to land anyway, as over the wall goes Palafox. Couple Galio ults coming around. They might kill him. They finally do a shutdown for Bjergsen. Charm gonna go wide. But the team fight is a good 4v5. CLG gonna try their best. Bjergsen running away over the wall, gonna stay alive for now. Luger cleanses away a root. Now looking at Bwipo. Not terribly tanky. Stoppage to the front line. Can they get that kill? But down goes Contractz. They might kill him off. 2 for the Aatrox. And a 3rd now for Contractz. And the damage just isn't quite there. TL run out of damage, and CLG opt into the 4v5 and avenges a fallen mid laner.
It's a good attempt by Team Liquid because they know time is against them. They've got super minions on the doorstep, but they take a swing and they miss. CLG will punish.
What an opening performance by CLG. 2 games away from eliminating Team Liquid.
Looking at the next couple of bits of this space, gonna knock him down. A 26-minute victory. There you go, CLG starting off strong.
Okay, game number 1, amazing job CLG, both in draft and execution.
Yeah.
It's not one of these things isolated, it is both combined.
Yes.
I will draw it back a bit. This is a best of 5 series. This is
already
just-
over, Kobe.
This is just the first game in your
Of
best
the
of 5
best of
series.
5.
And remember FlyQuest.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Team Liquid now 0 for 3 in the opening games of their best of 5s this playoffs. They dropped the first 2 to 100 Thieves before winning the next 2. Definitely some concerned looks, though, with the way that played out. And when I was looking at CLG right after the game, I loved how calm they were. This is no surprise to them that they were able to take the first one off of TL.
Exactly. And they weren't overly celebrating it because, like we said, it's a best of 5. You've got way more work to do.
Yeah, and it's about draft adaptation, right? In my mind, I just see Twitch chat B_N___TROX. That's going to be all the comments on Reddit as well. Like, it is another game where Bwipo cannot handle that lane. 2v1, double kill for the Aatrox. Like, I'm not saying the man can't play, but like, it just keeps happening. At a certain point, override and be like, sorry, bro, we haven't found it working. Evidence game number 5.
Yeah. Also, they just failed the 2v1 dive.
Of course they did. But I'm just saying, it just keeps happening, right? Like, you keep trying to find answers, and it keeps failing, and if you're like, no, it was really just mechanics, like, do you want to go down 0-2 and go up again? Because, I mean, maybe it works, right?
No,
But, like,
we've got a whole other series
I know.
that we have as evidence and proof
And
for it.
so sometimes you just do that one little thing, like, you know what, never mind Seraphine comps. We need to rethink them. You know, there's a whole lot that can change, right? As you said, it was draft and execution. CLG, of course, played very, very well. We'll see what Game 2 has in store. So CLG up in the series, and we are heading over